Here's an explanation for the answer to final exam question number 95 in Alternative Energy Demystified, 2nd edition. If you have the printed book, please see page 331. We're talking here about black powder, which is used as a solid fuel in some military rockets. Actually, it resembles gunpowder. How do you make it? What do you use? Carbon and other solid waste products from diesel fuel combustion? Well, no. Charcoal, potassium nitrate, and sulfur? Bingo. That is the answer. We'll look at one of these, a very simplified diagram of a solid fuel rocket in a minute. Solid fuel rocket, by the way, you'll also find in model rockets the little things, that you can get these engines for and put them in. These little engines look like little cylinders, and again, I'll show you that in a minute. C, carbon powder mixed with water and then dried into a hard mass. Well, no, you'll get a piece of coal if you do that, more or less. A piece of charcoal if you do that, more or less. You might be able to use it for barbecuing, but you won't be able to use it as a solid rocket fuel. D, crystallized charred compressed biodiesel. Wow, that sounds pretty wild, doesn't it? I've never heard of anything like that. Maybe it would work. I mean, who knows? I guess I don't know. Maybe you should try it and see. You might invent something, but it's not commonly done. I know that. E, ordinary table sugar, charred and then compressed. Well, if you do that, again, you're going to get you're more or less going to get the same thing as you'd get with C. You're going to get charcoal, because that's what you end up with if you char sugar. You'll get pretty much just ordinary charcoal. So let's look at a solid fuel rocket. Now, this is just the engine basically here. The thrust goes from right to left. The exhaust comes out, goes from left to right. And here is your solid fuel thing. Oops. Gotta ungroup that first. Now you can laugh at me. I'm just going to leave that blooper in there so you can laugh at me. I'm too lazy to do the video all over again anyway. Now that we've got this little caption replaced, charcoal, potassium nitrate, and sulfur. It's all kind of compressed. You've seen these if you've done any model rocketry. This is a little thing. It's maybe a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch in diameter, say a centimeter and a half, and 3 or 4 or 5 centimeters long. You put that in the bottom of the rocket. You use a little glowing wire to light it. It fires off, and your model rocket goes up. The thing burns for 2 or 3 or 4 seconds, depending on what type of engine it is, and you can get your little rocket. I got them to go up to 3 or 4, maybe not that high, 2,000 or 3,000 feet with a 3-stage rocket. I remember I built a beautiful little model rocket once. I spent hours and hours polishing and varnishing it and making it all real beautiful. And I set it down there on the launching pad, and I lit it off, and it flew up, and it was just great. It was wonderful. It made a spectacular performance, and then had that little parachute in the top stage to bring it down so it could be reused. It wouldn't land so hard that it wrecked it. Well, the little engine in there was one of these little things, like a miniature military solid rocket engine, comprising charcoal, potassium nitrate, and sulfur. So once again, the correct answer to this question is B, as in bravo.